Do you mind talking about the speech you gave at the municipal building back in June?
Yeah, no problem. Do you have any specific questions about it?
Yeah. I was wondering kind of, what prompted you to do that and what did that kind of mean to you to be able to open up to people like that? You've always been open on social media, but there's a difference between talking on social media and standing up in front of a crowd like that.
Yeah, I'd actually say that that's probably why I did it mostly was that, I would feel remiss if I would talk all this on social media and all these different, posts and all these different reactions to the things happening. And then in real life, whenever I have the opportunity to, use my platform and talk to people, face to face and not actually say something. So, just at that march, it was a very emotional march. The timing of it was kind of whenever everything started happening again this year, with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. And, the march was done so well by the coalition, 320 Coalition up at Penn State. And there was just so many good speakers and, the camaraderie and just how powerful it was there. By the point that I came up and spoke, it was near the end of the march. So we were about 2.5, 3 hours in. So by that point, I just felt like a perspective of a Black man was needed. So that's why I spoke up.
What sort of reaction did you get there and also after it? Because obviously, I think you're in State College. It's not the most diverse place in the world, but it seemed like the reaction was pretty good from everybody.
Yeah. I mean, overall, really good reactions. Good reactions from the people there. Obviously, afterwards, once it got posted on social media and on different outlets, it was overall pretty positive. Obviously, there was going to be some people just taking things out of context, cherry picking statements, or trying to twist it to make it fit into their narrative, whatever. But you can't be worried about that kind of thing. You kind of just got to say what you got to say, and if people can't understand what you're saying, then that's on them.
And Paul, do you mind if I just keep asking questions until people come in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and your teammates really and coaches. I mean, what was their reaction? I kind of know what it is, but I'd like to hear from you what it meant to you to see how they all reacted.
It was huge, just to get that amount of support from the people closest to you.
On the football front, how were things going in preseason practice?
Great. We're excited to get back to football. Everyone's really taking it seriously. You can see how much effort and commitment the team has put in, since quarantine started.
We'll go to Gianna.
Yes. Hi, CJ. Just a quick question. I'm just curious, what was, and if you had any reactions to everything going on with Pat this season recently, obviously in specific.
Can you elaborate on what exactly you mean?
Yeah, just like, when everything coming out about reports of him, leaving and then him making an announcement about staying, like, did you kind of have any, feeling about that? Like, what's going on? Why is this happening?
Yeah, well, I mean, he never opted out or said he was leaving by any means. So, I mean, we all knew. I'd seen him at practice every day. So it kind of wasn't, I was more surprised whenever I heard reports of him leaving. I was confused. I was like, oh, who said that?
Mm-hmm.
We'll go to Ben Free.
Hi, CJ. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Obviously you've been very vocally active in, Black Lives Matter and everything going on social injustice. So, like, what's it kind of like to have a coach like James Franklin who is supporting you guys and letting you guys, speak out for like what you guys believe in and everything?
It's definitely huge, just from a morality aspect. We're all very appreciative of how Coach Franklin has reacted during these times, and how he understands that because we're more than just football players, that we have to use we would all be, downtrodden if we didn't use our platforms to speak about these kind of things, especially during the time that we have right now.
We'll go back to Mark Brennan.
CJ, I read where your dad seemed like he wasn't completely comfortable with you playing. I mean, was that accurately portrayed, and what have those discussions been like? If you don't mind sharing, if you do, it's okay.
Oh no, I've definitely been in close communication with my dad. And he's always one to just want to look at the big picture and look at everything. So once he understood kind of the protocols that we have in place around here, which I think is kind of just the biggest part of just like realizing that we're doing everything that's necessary, and that, the Big Ten and Penn State specifically is really putting in the time to keep us all safe. Once we had those kind of communications, then it was understood. But I definitely think that it was taken a little bit out of context. It was more so from I just want to make sure that he's safe.
We'll stick with Mark.
What has it been like working with Coach Traut? What can you tell us about him? Because we've had a little bit of chance to talk to him, but not much.
Oh man, great coach, love him. He's really man who's about his craft. He knows what he's talking about. The tools and tips that he's able to give us. His connections, his experience that he's able to pass down on us is immeasurable.
We'll go to Ben Freed.
And just to go off that, CJ, just kind of how him being, having his college career like it was, just kind of how has that brought you a unique perspective to him being a coach, and give like a little more validity and like his tips and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, he definitely he's able to relate with us more, especially him being a little bit on the younger side. He's not that far removed from where we're at, and he understands where we're at. So, he's able to really like put himself in our shoes to be able to teach us, the things that he sees us messing up. He's very understanding of them. Now, that's not to say that he is, soft by any means, but it's more so, all right, I understand that you messed up because of a bigger reason, not that you messed up just to say, I don't like the way that you're teaching it. So it's definitely really good, just having that both sides of it.
We'll go to Audrey Snyder.
Hey, CJ, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I've been asking all your teammates this, totally different probably than what you've been asked already, but the NCAA is allowing social messaging on jerseys this year. I know the Leadership Council is going to talk about it. Coach Franklin told us at least. If you could put one individual message on your jersey, what would you want that to be for this season, and why?
Yeah, we're definitely coming out with something for us all to work together as one unified message. I definitely think that'll be the biggest thing, is just having a unified message throughout the whole team.
And if I may follow that up, we've seen you guys really active with videos in terms of encouraging people to vote. We didn't see that 4 years ago from Penn State. I didn't see it 8 years ago when I was covering the team either. Why has that become so important for you guys? And how do you want to continue to use that platform even throughout the season with November coming?
I definitely think that's become more important, because, people have more time now. So it's more time to look at these kind of things. But I also think that we saw last election that there was a majority, not a majority, but there was a large number of people who did not vote for XYZ reasons. And, that led people to be look at the voting process in a way that made it seem as though people weren't getting what they really wanted. So people were not as happy with it. But you can't really have a problem with something if you're not doing everything you can to try to fix it. So that's why I think the voting aspect is so huge now, just because if you want to change something, you got to at least take the steps to change it.
We'll go to Justin Hawkinsmith.
Hey, CJ. I'm just curious. I think a lot of Penn State fans that have watched this offensive line group kind of get better a little bit at a time. It seems like there's a group together now. And what do you think about this group's ability to kind of take that progress and make a big leap and kind of get into that dominant category? What makes this year's team, the group to do that?
I definitely think that everyone is really taking a personal stance to be the best that they can be this year. And I definitely think that Coach Traut is helping a lot with that, just in, getting us all on one accord, having us all do the same technique and really emphasizing, the dominance that we're supposed to have. We're coming at people this year, and that's how our scheme is set up to be. That's how our blocking techniques are set up to be, and that's how everyone's mentality is.
We'll go back to Mark Brennan.
CJ, what position or positions are you working at? It sounds as if the coaches are kind of experimenting a little bit with different guys in different places.
Yeah, everyone's got to be ready to play wherever. We have so many good guys on the offensive line right now that, everyone needs to be able to play in pretty much any position. Obviously, I'm focusing on guard and the interior, so that'd be guard and center. But I'm getting my work over the entire line.
Is there one side or the other that you've been on more, left or right or center? Or I assume it'd be left or right guard.
Yeah. Obviously, with me playing mostly right last year, I've definitely been more so on the right. But that's not to say that left guard isn't also an option.
We'll go back to Audrey Snyder.
CJ, we'll hear from Adisa Isaac and Jason Owe later this afternoon. We've heard some stories about freakish athleticism and those kinds of things. From the other side, what have you seen from those guys throughout your time here? What maybe gets you excited or optimistic about them when you don't have to line up against them?
No, I'd definitely say that our defensive line is something special. Just the mentality that they have over there and the way that they come to practice every single day is honestly, it keeps us on our P's and Q's and it makes sure that we're always ready to go. So definitely, just like you said, freakish athleticism. Like, we got some athletes over there, some straight dogs.
We'll go back to Mark Brennan.
CJ, can you tell us about Coach Traut and how he's able to coach technique and those type of things, and how important it is to be back on the field for him to get that across to you? Because I'm sure it's different learning on Zoom as it is, as opposed to him being able to be there physically with you doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely different. We were lucky enough to have a couple of practices in the spring where we got some technique from him, but definitely being back now helps a lot, just with him being able to see and coach up the little techniques, and him being able to see all of our steps and show us the process of where our mistakes are coming from.
Ben Free.
And CJ, kind of going off that, Traut, when he played on that 08 Florida team, has he shared any fun stories kind of from that team? As I know it has a bit of it's a bit wild, some stories that come out of there.
Yeah. He definitely just talks about just being just a legendary team. Obviously, them winning the national championship he kind of just is trying to give us some tools to be on that same level.
We'll go to Gabe and Jerry.
Hey, CJ, hope you're doing well. Just a quick question about the preparation for the season, because obviously it's been a very unorthodox offseason for you guys. Is it tougher on the offensive line to kind of gel together with such a limited time before the season?
I'd say probably in most cases it would be, but we are lucky enough to be in a situation that, all of our offensive line, the first 1 and 2 deep, have been around each other for at least a year. So, whenever we came back, it was immediately back to where we were at, and everyone really just gelled together pretty well. And obviously, it's another shout out to Coach Traut because he really makes sure that he mixes not only the teaching aspect of it, but with the, the family, the bonding.
We'll go back to Mark Brennan.
CJ, are there some young defensive linemen that you can tell us about that maybe we haven't seen? I know we're talking to you like a crusty old veteran now, but can you tell us about some of the young guys that we haven't looked at yet?
Yeah, the freshman 99. We saw him in pads for the first day. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not even sure of his name. That's just how it's been with these Zoom meetings. But yeah, number 99 on the defensive line. He's gonna be a dog. Yeah, Izzard, that guy. He's gonna be a dog.
Why so? Why do you say that? He seems pretty powerful. Again, we just put on pads for the first time, so it's still a little bit to be seen. But what I've seen, he seems really good in the pass rush. Obviously, there's to see what he's going to do with the run blocking, what he's going to do whenever he gets on the actual field. But so far, he's definitely shown a little bit to me.
Ben Free.
What's it like, lining up next to someone like Michael Mannett, and what do you think's like the best lesson he's taught you throughout your time here?
He's definitely a guy who is super focused on the details. So that's something I would say about him, just knowing the offensive scheme. And, as a center, you have to be the second smartest person on the field behind the quarterback. And it's almost smarter than him because, not only do you have to read the defense, but you got to figure out what the dude 2 inches away from your face is going to do. So definitely just seeing him, knowing the details, being super locked into the scheme of our offense and how things are supposed to go.
We'll go to Parth.
What's going on, CJ? Appreciate the time this morning.
Yeah.
Obviously, you and Journey Brown kind of came into Penn State at the same time, so you've seen his maturation both on and off the field. What do you think it's taken for him to overcome all the adversity that he's had to overcome to kind of get to the point where we saw him last season looking like one of the best running backs in the country?
I think I'm just stepping into that fact. Me and Journey, obviously, we were roommates freshman year, so we've always been very close, and going up through this whole process, we've been together through the whole thing. So it's definitely good to just see him, realizing his own power. And obviously, it's rough coming in behind Saquon and Miles, but he never got disheartened by it. He always, took the positive from the situations and learned from it, and always kept that positive mentality. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing about Journey, is that no matter what, he kept that positive outlook, and he always trying to learn, get better.
Mark Brennan.
So are you telling us that Mennett is smarter than Clifford?
I ain't say that, but
No, I'm just kidding you. I know you didn't say that. In all seriousness, can you tell us about the depth on the O-line? Coach Franklin was talking about it last night and saying it's something you guys really haven't had since he got here. How important is that to what you guys are going to be able to do? Huge.
Definitely just, knowing that anybody that you put in, next man up will never, the quality and the standard will never drop. It's huge. And again, having people who have all had a good number of playing time, have all been there for a while, and, that are all very committed to what we're doing here and committed to getting better is huge. Like, the competition that we have in the offensive line room is something I haven't seen since I've been here either. And it's definitely just really good to see.
We'll go to Parth.
CJ, I want to ask a follow-up to my last Journey question, if that's cool with you. Last season during the Minnesota game, I think it was like week 6, that's when we kind of saw the switch flip for him. What do you think happened to where he started snapping on folks, towards the last half of the season?
Honestly, just, I couldn't tell you. You know, he found his stride essentially.
Mark Brennan.
I'll ask one more, CJ. What are your after football? What would you like to do?
True. Definitely. Still think I'm trying to go into law, as of right now, but I'm also thinking about government.
How come?
I just want to make actionable change, like, you know, help people out in my community, help people out around me. So in whatever capacity that I can do that, that's what I'm trying to do. So that's what I'm trying to, you know, I say government now because I'm realizing that, you know, I have a platform and an ability to speak to people relatively well. So that's definitely a big part of it.
How much has everything that's happened in the last 6 months or so kind of led to that? I'm assuming it is, but I'd just like to hear it in your words.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely been something that's already been on my mind before all this kind of stuff was happening. Like at the beginning of the year, we had went to this Black student athlete summit in Texas with a couple of the guys from the Penn State football team, and you know, just being down there, seeing all these student athletes, you know, dealing with the same issues, and all doing the same things as us, but also, you know, doing all these other different things, like having these organizations and companies, all this kind of stuff, definitely made me want to try to do more. So, you know, obviously the past couple of months have heightened that, but it's definitely been something that's been on my mind.
Thank you.
We'll go to new bias.
CJ, hope you're doing well, man. Thank you for time. Real quick, walk me through that first contact. You had the helmet on, you had the pads on. Walk me through what that felt like, man.
Man, it's crazy to say the least. You know, there's so much anticipation that comes with it, especially I'd say on the offensive line, because you know there's no hiding on the offensive line. A line versus D line, you're directly man to man, will versus will against another man. So you know, there's definitely a lot of anticipation as a young guy. Whenever I first was doing it, you know, you get those butterflies whenever you first get out onto the field. Like your whole body's tensing up. You know, you're thinking 100 miles a minute. What's the play? What am I going to do on this play? How am I going to do this on this play? Like, how am I going to be stronger than this guy? But you know, after that first hit, all that goes out the window. You're just kind of there experiencing it. You're just trusting your technique. So definitely, yeah.
And did it make a difference watching games? Am I too late here? Paul? Never mind. Don't worry about it. It's like 40 seconds. Sorry.
Still have time for
Yeah.
a question if you want to ask.
Okay, just real quick. Walk me through that weekend of watching games when you guys knew you were playing.
Oh, man, it just builds up the anticipation even more. Like now watching these games, you know, seeing these people play, it's like, dang, we're going to be in that spot in a couple months. In a month now, like, it's huge. Super excited.